we need more photos.
Yeah.
I think just Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Welcome to this week's Whole Week Costa. Tonight, we had a week off because I was on a mini vacation, which actually part of it was terrible, but the rest of it was awesome. The Airbnb smelled like cat pee and was covered in mold. So, but we're back. Tonight on the beer table, we have Yingling Black and Tan. No special beer facts. I think we've had it before. Yeah. It's America's oldest. It's America's oldest craft brewer.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's not like.
So would they count as a craft brewery?
Yeah,
anymore?
they do, because they're under like the limit of brewing.
Like the amount of is based on like the amount of beers they actually make.
Yeah, because they're tied for first as America's biggest American-owned breweries.
Okay.
Yeah, so them and Boston Brewing. So Sam Adams, and they're still considered craft.
Okay.
Which is weird because they brew so much.
Yeah.
Well, this week's movie is The Apartment, starring Shirley MacLaine and Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
Jack Lemmon is I guess just a low man on the totem pole insurance guy who wants to move up in the business. So he doesn't even rent it out. He just lets executives use his apartment to bring their mistresses over. And he falls in love with an elevator girl who happens to be the mistress of the top executive for the company he works for, who he gives the key to bring it over. And towards the middle of the movie, spoilers, they both find out. He finds out that she's the mistress, and then like a couple minutes later, she finds out that it's his apartment they're taking him to. The executive lies that he said he's going to get a divorce from his wife, but then she finds out that she's like the fifth or sixth girl he's had these lies with.
Been there.
Yeah. And then you're the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so anyway, his secretary, the guy's actual secretary, who's like the third girl he was sleeping with, tells his wife. The wife kicks him out. Jack Lemmon's character, CC Baxter, gets this big executive job. The executive, who's above him, his boss, asks to use the apartment with Shirley MacLaine's character, and he says no, especially not with her, and then resigns from his position, even though he worked really hard to get there.
I don't like the ending. But so what I liked about the movie is, so I thought that it was going to be like annoying and weird because I assumed that when he found out that that the girl he liked was the girl that was being brought to his apartment, or one of the girls, that like shenanigans would ensue. And there were basically no shenanigans after that point.
After the first 20 minutes, it's a straight drama.
Yeah.
In the middle of the movie, she tries to kill herself.
Yeah.
With sleeping pills.
Because I mean, about a 45 minutes to an hour in the movie, like in my head, I'm thinking, like, this movie has some real fucking tone problems. Like, what the fuck is the point of this? Like you have, like, it was just silly for the first 20 minutes. I texted you 20 minutes in, I hate this movie. This movie's trash. And then it like shifted to.
I like how he put his pajamas in the beginning. He put his pants right over his pajamas. He's all mad and shit.
Yeah,
and then he's trying to shift the guys around for his apartment. That's like your typical slapstick, like 50s, 60s. Like, I thought that part was hilarious.
I thought that part was like mildly funny. The stuff before that was like annoying a little bit, and it was kind of fine because it kind of went with his character, I guess, in that. He's like you said, he's sort of a down like he's not really an everyman. He's like more downtrodden than the average person, and you find out later that he actually had depression issues and stuff, and had a pretty poor self-esteem, and he lives as a bachelor. He eats frozen TV dinners for dinner, like while watching TV. Like that's his
he's
life.
Just a guy like he's a 850 to 520 guy. Yeah, he's a 9 to 5 guy. He's just he's stuck in this life where he wakes up. He goes to work, comes home, eats dinner, wakes up, goes to work. Like he works overtime for no money.
Yeah. Did you ever hear that Jonathan Colton song, Code Monkey?
No.
That's him.
Yeah.
If you guys know the song, it's like that's the point of the song, that he lives this, or that he works in this unimaginative, like uncreative job that's unfulfilling, but he like thinks the front desk girl's hot, and that's the only reason he goes to work.
Like the SpongeBob SquarePants gif, where the guy's like in bed in his car, in bed in his car, or in bed in his car, work
I don't know
in
that.
his car. Oh, it's so good. It is basically the 9 to 5 life where like he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
New Year's, Christmas Eve, he goes to the bar and has like 1 million drinks.
Yeah, it can be really draining too. We were just talking about that when I was eating dinner before coming over here. Me and Kelly were talking about how how we both sort of feel older than our stated ages, because like if we're getting married, we're gonna probably have another kid, and about how it seems like we're really old for that, but we're really not. I mean, she's 30. Like, this is when a lot of people do just start their life and get married and have kids and stuff. Like, she's
Right.
at a totally normal age for all this stuff to be happening. But like, part of it is, since we've gotten together, we've had terrible financial strains where it feels like it's just been this slog for years of like having to make all this extra money and do all this extra work, and it's always extra stuff. So we kind of feel older than we are because of mostly financial strain.
Well, you guys do spend terribly.
I don't.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you've admitted on the podcast, like Sam weekends, you can spend like $300-400 on a Sam weekend.
I would say average like $200, but still, I mean to spend $200 on entertainment in the 2-week cycle, and then like honestly, like I probably spend $50 a year on clothes. like I probably spend. I probably spend $50 a month on food for myself. Like, I mean, I eat like almost nothing that's like, this is expensive in any way. So that's like my only expenditure. But like not only, but it's been like, well, I mean, like people that listen to this before the movie podcast know about my wild extra expenses every year between buying a house back after the divorce, now paying for a wedding. So like every year I need an extra like $25,000
Trading in
like,
cars.
Yeah.
It's like like you just proved the point, like it's first world problems.
Yeah.
I need an extra $25,000.
Yeah.
Let me just go and make that in my second job. Like most people aren't making $25,000 in their first job.
Well, I know, but it's working 28 days out of the 30 days in the month or whatever.
Right. And I mean, you've
I can do it, so which is good.
You've earned.
Yeah.
You've earned that type of money though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you went for your MSN.
Yeah.
Is it MSN?
Yeah.
Yeah. You went for your MSN. Like you've worked the hours, everything.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like, oh, you don't deserve it. I'm just saying,
but some people don't have the capacity to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
just thought it was funny. Like,
Yeah.
I need an extra $25,000. People are like, I need $40,000. Period. Like,
Yeah.
you need an extra $25,000. Oh, so I did the calculations real quick before you go into the talk. So CC Baxter, our antagonist, protagonist.
Yeah.
I guess Jeff is our antagonist.
Yeah.
But he's not really that bad of a guy. He is a scumbag. I mean, like, he's just a businessman.
He's a scumbag, but so is everybody else in the movie.
Yeah, but really quick, affairs were so out in the open in the 50s.
Yeah.
Like they made a movie about it.
Yeah.
Like this is well before Me Too. And then Jeff slaps some girl's ass.
Yeah.
And like, he's just like, I'm not saying it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Like this guy's like all these like executives like, well, we want to sleep with women, but we can't go home.
Yeah.
Also, from Manhattan to Atlantic City, that's a long flight, or that's a long drive.
I know. When you can just go to an apartment on 63rd Street or whatever.
Yeah, or just, I don't know, North Jersey, like like anywhere. But anyway, so I did the math, the inflation, and everything. He makes $94 a week.
Yeah.
When we open the movie, and he pays $85 in rent.
Yeah.
So it's the equivalent of like $730 in rent.
Okay.
And he makes like $865 a week doing this insurance.
Okay.
And like you think about it, and I did like the math and everything. He makes about like, if we could equate it, like $22 an hour doing this, and he less than a quarter of his salary goes to rent.
Yeah.
So he's not living a bad life.
Yeah. He's making pretty good money. I mean, essentially, so he's making. So what?
He's making what I make.
Yeah.
But he's paying less in rent.
Yeah. So he's making, well, I guess that's before taxes though. So he's making what, like $1,600 every 2 weeks?
I mean, if he has retirement,
Well,
his bring home's probably around 11.
Probably like 13, yeah, like 12,
11 and
1200,
12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's about, like, if I don't work overtime, I bring about 1,200.
It's not bad. I mean, when I started my career, I was making like, I was taking home maybe like $1,500 every 2 weeks, and I bought a house on that.
Right.
So, I mean,
but so he's not doing terrible, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like he bought a $15 house, $15 hat, which is like $85. So
Yeah.
like if you do the math and you add it all up, and you like living expenses in the 50s, because this movie is filmed 1960 or released 1960, so it's probably filmed 59. I don't know the turnaround of films back
Yeah.
then, so it's like 59, 60. So living expenses for him wasn't terrible.
yeah,
And-
that's pretty good.
Yeah, so he's doing pretty good. So I don't know if he's making money off of them using the apartment, or like
I don't
he's getting
think so.
reimbursed for the liquor.
It sounds like he's supposed to, but he's not.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing any of that.
Because he said about how like he still owed him for the other couple bottles of alcohol.
Right. So how good
Mm.
was the scene
Mm.
when we first introduced to what's her name, Mary? Shirley MacLaine's
Yeah,
character.
Sean McLean's character.
We'll say Shirley. We'll call her Mary
Yeah,
unless you want to look it up.
yeah, okay.
When we're first introduced, and like he goes through the entire business day, right? Like he's going through the Rolodex trying to move guys around, so because he has a cold now, and like it's kind of a funny scene. Like it's a very subtle funny scene, and he gets back and he talks to
Fran.
Fran, right?
I think the thing is we usually hear her as Miss Kubelik.
Yeah, Miss
So,
Kubelik.
yeah.
Yeah. So Fran, or Miss Kubelik, is the elevator girl. Which there's a hilarious line, like she moved in with her sister and her brother-in-law,
Yeah,
who's kind of a badass.
yeah,
And they're like, oh, they sent me to secretary school, and he's like, oh, so you couldn't type? And she's like, no, I can type fine, I can't spell.
Yeah.
And like that's a hilarious line.
yeah. That was
I
good.
really liked it. But so like when you first you see this, like first like you want to go on a date, and she's like, well, I'm gonna go get a drink with another guy.
Yeah.
Then I'll meet you for the date. So that's set up with Jeff
Mhm.
calling his wife, saying that the account manager from like Chicago or whatever is coming in from town, and he's going to take him to see a play. But what he's doing, he's going to go out on a date with Fran and then sleep with her
Yeah.
at CC Baxter's apartment.
Yeah.
So he's like, you ever see the Music Man CC Baxter? And he's like, no, I haven't. And he's like, well, I'm going to give you these 2 tickets. And he's like, oh, cool. And then in his head, he's like, I'm going to ask Fran if she wants to go with me. And he's like, yeah, good, because I have a date tonight, and I'm going to need your apartment tonight. So after the play, you can come back. So he goes to ask Fran, and Fran goes, well, I have a date with another gentleman. It's done and over. At least I thought it was done and over. And so, like, I really want to just, like, put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
So, and then he's like, well, it's at 8:30. And she goes, you know what? All right, 8:30, I can meet you. So Fran meets up with Jeff, and Jeff's like, look, and this is all a lie. We find out later. I'm going to leave my wife. I want a divorce. Just come sleep with me. And she's like, no, I can't. He's like, come on.
Yeah.
He's like, I still love you. And then so she stands up CC Baxter and then goes to CC Baxter's apartment with Jeff
Get the pipe.
to sleep with him.
Yeah.
And stands him up. And then like for weeks they don't talk.
Yeah.
And like I felt like really bad for him. So it's like they build this whole story around everyone not knowing who knows what. I thought it was very well done.
It was. I feel like everyone's very believable too, because I mean, how often does that happen in relationships where like, there's some still past entanglements, like if I remember, like when you started dating your fiance, I mean, she wasn't obviously involved with anyone else, but had some financial entanglements still with a previous person that was like annoying to you and like was annoying to deal with. And I mean, obviously, I was married.
And I had a kid.
So I mean that's believable that there's this sort of stuff exists, and I feel like the guys in this movie as sleazy as they are. I mean, they do a good job of making a reality, which was I'm sure was true in some settings and some scenarios where this sort of sleaziness is like fine and okay. So, and they never really break from that reality. Like all the powerful men in this movie all act the same way. And it's I think it's believable in real life. It's certainly believable in the world that they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the characters are all pretty strong. Did you know too? There's some interesting cinematography in this. I found this out in my research over the last couple days. Well, I guess the last day since I watched the movie yesterday. So apparently, they're, at this point with movies, the big fear was that people were going to stop going to the movies and just watch TV because TVs are out and they're in color now and they're more popular.
Are you talking about the dual commercials, the advertisements?
No.
Our first advertisement, so he flips the channel and like he watches all the things for about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And he goes back to the original channel. And for our secondary advertisement, he's like, "Oh, God damn it!" Like he's real mad.
So that probably was a pretty good, relatable joke at the time, is what I'd imagine. I kind of wondered how they did the TV because you couldn't film that with a film camera. You couldn't just film a TV. So how did they like CGI in the TV then? I wonder how the technology worked.
Cinematography,
I guess, but I was curious how they did it because
it's one of those things where so real quick before we get on your so the big complaint about live concerts like recordings now is that we've gotten so advanced we've forgotten how to record concerts. They don't sound as good, and that's like a big me. I love music. Yeah. So like live concerts recorded don't sound great.
Yeah.
But like recorded concerts back in the 60s and 70s sounded amazing.
Interesting.
Because they just took time and effort, and the technology was what we would call like primitive. We can't even think of why would you do something so difficult when you can get like a digital recorder, Yeah. So it's
like a decent
to get it
recording.
If we figured it out, you would go, that's such primitive technology. Why would we ever go back to that? But it looks so good.
Yeah.
That like you would be like, well, we have other technology. We can CGI in, we can just we can DVR and like do all this other stuff, picture in picture, and you're like, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah. But you could tell. Well, I mean, you could tell in this that it was that image was pasted over, but I'm not sure how they did stuff like that back then.
It was a really funny scene because now YouTube has 2 advertisements, and I don't even want to watch those videos.
I use YouTube Red.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, that's where all my extra hours go to is YouTube Red.
Oh, sorry about your cinematography.
So part of the way to compete with that was to have essentially better cinematography in films than you could have on TV. So with the wide TV screen, this is part of where like that wide format came from. So it started in the 50s where you'd film stuff with these wide angle lenses, but it would the initial ones would distort the picture a little bit. So in some like close up things, like people would look like a little out of proportion and stuff. So this was essentially like sort of the second generation of that sort of wide angle lens, like widescreen technology. So the distortion wasn't there as much. But at this point, a lot of films were in color, but they made the decision to film this in wide angle, like a wide angle panoramic view, but black and white. And the reason why they did that was to have better depth of field, because at this point, black and white technology was so developed that you could pick up like the difference between the light and the dark really well, versus in color you couldn't do it as well. The color technology wasn't as evolved.
I was wondering why they did it in black and white. Yeah.
So like that opening scene. Where he's in his office building and you have that huge wide shot and you have this like really wide, like really long depth of field where like you can see people way in the background really clearly. That's because it was shot with this wide angle lens in black and white. So you can have this bigger depth of field. But there are some scenes where it was really important because so this scene, like just thinking about it afterwards, this scene sort of jumped out for me because it shows how expansive his company is, like how just nameless and like, you know, not special he is.
When you go in there and they
Yeah.
keep mentioning that there's like 36,000 employees.
Yeah, but it shows it in that shot with that widescreen long depth of field, because you see, like, as
Right.
far as the eye can see, there's more people doing the same exact job that he is.
Yeah.
So that was cool, but there was other scenes. The thing that I read about it pointed out that some of the scenes where stuff happens in the background, and that stuff wouldn't really been possible with the color technology of the day, especially with the low lights. So like probably the biggest scene is where Fran wakes up in his apartment after she takes the sleeping pills, and she's in the background sort of like stumbling around, and then he's on the phone with
The doctor.
with his boss.
With his boss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's on the phone with Jeff, and he's telling and he's like basically telling Jeff, like, oh, I'll cover for you. What do you want me to tell her? And she's in the background probably hearing it all, and because of the way it was shot, you can clearly see foreground and background, even with the low light in the background, clearly what she's doing. And that wouldn't have been that's the only way this would have been available, is with the technology they used for this film at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the movie. I really
Yeah.
like the way that it was shot, especially the apartments, and like I like the background characters. Like I like the doctor and his wife.
Yeah.
I think the doctor and his wife are very good characters, well rounded. There's three main characters in this movie.
Yeah.
There's CC Baxter,
Yeah.
Jack Lemmon, which I've always loved Jack Lemmon.
I never seen young Jack Lemmon before.
No, me either. I mean, I've seen some old Odd Couple episodes, but like
Yeah.
he still looked older, you know. And then Jack Lemmon, CC Baxter, Fran, and Jeff.
Yeah.
Those are the three main characters.
Yeah.
So you have Jeff, who's just a sleazeball.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know if he worked. Like people just kick money up to him. Like
Yeah.
he's just a jerk. Like he wants to control every aspect of everything.
But he's kind of shown though. I think he's kind of interesting though, because he is probably the sleaziest, but he's not shown to be that. Like he still feels respectable. Like it feels like he still feels important and respectable. Like he's still an important guy. He's still important at his job. Like basically being chosen by him to be like, you know, someone he has an affair with is like not a little deal.
Right.
Versus like the lower level managers are just like having a frat party.
Oh yeah, definitely. They were drinking and smoking like in the office and
Yeah.
everything. Then our second main character is Fran, who's like very important. Like I feel bad for her the most.
Yeah.
Her character is like there's nothing like she kind of was independent. The way she talked to the men and everything, she like I don't want to say this to sound like, you know, let's say it's the 50s, 60s. She said just enough to not get hit. Like if she was a little more fresh, they like probably would have hit her. You know what I mean? Like she was a very like independent, like fiery kind of person, but not like stupid independent like in Baby Gone or whatever. Like she
bringing
was
up
like,
baby.
Yeah, bringing up baby.
Yeah, see, I thought it was
like-
gonna be a bringing up baby in the
Yeah.
first 20 minutes.
Yeah, but she's like a realistic, and I feel
Yeah, she's a good realistic character. Agreed.
I feel really bad for her because
Yeah.
you could see how she falls for this powerful man, and he's like giving the lies, and then Dorothy, his secretary's like, look, I'm like the fourth girl. You're like the sixth, okay?
Yeah.
Or seventh, you know? And like her heart's broken. And then like this guy, CC Baxter, like he seems innocent enough, but then he's renting out his apartment to these men to have sex with. Like, he's like not a good guy. And then what?
What is that? What just happened?
Siri just went off for no reason. And I feel bad for her because you could see how all this could happen to her. Like, it's just not her fault. None of it's her fault.
Well, she's again a good realistic character in that. I mean, so yeah, she's she's fairly independent, but she is not very intelligent. You know, she's not a smart girl.
Right.
But she's like really good hearted. You know, she does want to work hard at her job. You know, it seems like she she's an elevator operator. It seems like she takes pride in that and wants to be a good elevator operator. She's overall a good person, but she's a little bit slower than like the men around her in this movie, and that's maybe a product of like being a 1950s movie,
right?
Where she's, more these, even though she's a little worldly and has a little bit of experience, she still can be taken advantage of,
right? And like and you watch movies and you're like, well, that's something stupid. Yeah. I would never do that.
Yeah, with I never feel that way.
Yeah, with her, I'm like, oh, I could totally see myself. Like I can see how she does that. Whereas the other part, like CC Baxter, he lets them people take advantage of him. He lets those people walk all over him. He lets it just to get, and it's like, and you're like, you know what? This is all your fucking fault. Yeah. Whereas Fran, like, none of this is your fault. This is just natural. Like, you fall in love with a man, you fall for a man, and you fall in love with a man, and you don't know which one to trust. Like, I could see that happening. Like you're like, I can feel this character. Where CC Baxter, like, you understand why he does it, and like, you honestly, like I would never let people have sex in my bed, like random strangers. But I could see like why he does what he does. But then he gets in this thing, and you're like, it's your fault why people walk all over you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and even like the sleazy like middle manager guys, like as someone who I guess I would say I'm probably like in their social standing, like that all feels realistic. Like I don't know. Yeah. Like the way they act, like the amount of power they have is like
you fine. Not now, but you were a manager.
Yeah.
You could boss people around.
Yeah.
But you still didn't make decisions.
Yeah.
Like you could tell people like what to do.
Well, I'm talking about like the way they treat women and stuff.
Oh yeah, you could
like I'm talking about like the amount of social power they have. Like I think still as a nurse practitioner, like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying now I not like my management role previously aside, like I think I'm currently in that level of social standing as like what they're at.
Oh right.
If I were single and I were a little bit sleazier than I am, not a lot, but a little bit, like I think I could live the sort of lifestyle they were living. Like that doesn't feel unrealistic.
Well, if you were single, half your salary didn't go to supporting children.
Yeah.
Not just the one, both.
Yeah.
You could probably. I don't even think sleaziness. Like I think you could easily be that sleazy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just a little bit. not like a lot. Not like drastically. Not a drastic character change.
Yeah. like it would only take like. Really. Yeah. And it's just honest. I'm just being your buddy.
Yeah.
It's only Kelly that keeps you from being that sleazy.
Oh, absolutely. I say all the time, I need to be babysat. It's fine.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I need someone to not let me get too high.
Like if you were in Chicago, for a week instead of a weekend, you probably would have came back drastically different.
I don't know. Nah, I'm pretty tightly controlled.
Like when did you go to Chicago? What month?
May.
It would take till June to calm that storm down.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Like if it was a full 5 days.
Yeah.
Like if you left on a Monday morning, came back a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Like you would have left on a Monday morning with your like tie all buttoned up, like a suit jacket on, and then you would have came back in a sports coat or like the sport jacket, like your ties like packed away and everything. Like what happened to you? Nothing. All your clothes are ripped.
Yeah. Now, I was having a discussion with somebody recently about how like I need to be essentially when I started my current job years ago, I got like real high on myself and like was like a real asshole and like was like kind of like the guys in this movie, and like. I mean, even though I joke about it, like I'm pretty unhappy with how I acted in that time period. So I really need someone that reminds me that I'm not shit on a regular basis. Is essentially the service Kelly provides in my life. So I don't know, but then I mean, you sort of see like the unchecked. When people go unchecked in this movie, which is what happens often in real life. That's the story. That's the story of this guy that just quote unquote killed himself recently. That totally wasn't killed by Bill Clinton.
Oh, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. I mean, this is what happens. So
Yeah.
I mean, basically, all guys are pieces of shit, and if they're not checked in some way,
No.
everyone turns into Jeffrey Epstein.
No, this guy's a total piece of shit. I was actually in a bar in Denver, and I had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
And we were watching the thing on the news, and like we actually asked, and I go, and I have a niece, you have a daughter.
Yeah.
And like you see, even up to like 16, 17, sometimes 18,
Yeah.
if you look at a female's face,
Yeah.
you see that innocence. You see that young thing. Like the girls, the women that we're with, that we're engaged to, you look at their face, you see maturity. Like you see hardships. You see things in that face that like,
I'm telling Rachel you called her old.
huh?
I'm telling Rachel you called her
Yeah,
old.
I call her old all the time. I called her old like 10 minutes ago. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like if I don't see that stuff, like why would you want to be with that?
Yeah.
Like this Epstein guy being like having an island of 14-year-olders. You're like, what?
That's true. Epstein's a bad example for what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to be a pedophile. I'm talking about sleeping with like random women.
No, yeah, Epstein's
yeah.
a terrible. Like
Yeah.
it's disgusting. I'm starting to get mad, not at you, but that this happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe something like not R. Kelly. He's pretty terrible too.
Like Bill Clinton.
No, not Bill Clinton. He died a couple years ago. Playboy guy, Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, too? And we got off the movie topic, but this is what I was thinking the other day.
We didn't get off the movie topic.
Yeah, I guess it still is.
Yeah,
So,
we're still, yeah.
well,
We're talking about sleazeballs.
So Donald Trump reposted something
Sleazeball. that
that basically a comedian wrote about, but I mean, it's a legitimate conspiracy theory, but just the source you have to look at. That Epstein had information on the Clintons, and when people are enemies of the Clintons, they tend to turn up dead by suicide.
Yeah. Like I said before this, and I read this from a comedian.
Yeah.
No one knew Epstein was going to kill himself, including Epstein.
Yeah. But the thing that I guess Trump and whatever conservative media is trying to push this doesn't get, and I feel like in general, I feel like the liberal media doesn't get a lot of America, but I feel like the conservative media is really not getting part of America here, is that people like Bill Clinton. Yeah. So the idea of Bill Clinton being this like badass like ringleader of like, oh, if you cross Bill Clinton, you die. That's pretty badass. Yeah. Like that doesn't make me not like Bill Clinton.
Pretty much. So there's a thin unbreakable line when it comes to harems.
Yeah.
Harem of high school students, unacceptable.
Yeah.
Harem of college students, acceptable. Yeah. Like Bill Clinton's on the college student side.
Yeah.
So I watched. Speaking of that, I saw. This is more into a movie, but I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna like it because there's like an hour and a half of just like character building. You basically follow the Brad Pitt character through a day. Okay. Like you find out about his backstory.
Yeah.
And I think you think it would be like too slow and boring.
Maybe.
It's an example of like going through a guy's day that like you can make any job interesting.
Yeah. That's cool.
So he picks up spoilers. Well, not really spoilers. He picks up a hitchhiker. Like he keeps seeing the same hitchhiker, and she's like, "Hey, you want me to ask your D?" And he goes, "How old are you?" And she's like, 18, and he's like, "No, how old are you?" She's like 17. He's like, "So you don't have any ID to tell me how old you are?" She's like, "No." He's like, "Look, the law's been after me my whole life. Ain't going to jail for some poontang."
Yeah.
And it's really one of those things, like, if she was 18, he totally would have done it.
Yeah.
But you kind of get this character of, like, well, he's a good guy. Like, he's not a creep. You know, like, even though throughout the whole movie people think he murdered his wife, you're like, I feel good about this guy. You know, it's like, it's like a crazy, like, that thin line that you don't cross. Like, he murdered his wife, but he's not a creep.
Yeah.
Like you feel good about it.
He murdered his wife, but she never did the dishes.
So back to the movie.
Yeah. So the Holy Casa does not endorse violence against women. What was I say? Oh yeah. So one of the things I thought of watching the movie was that I kind of don't like. Well, so he does all the he does all the sleazy stuff. CC Baxter.
CC
Yeah,
Baxter.
he does all the sleazy stuff to get ahead in life. Then he finally gets ahead in life, and then he decides to be a fucking dope and throw it all away for some elevator operator. Like there's like the job he had, he would have gotten plenty of other elevator operators. He could have 2 elevator operators. But so CC Baxter's a dumbass. So that's my first problem with it. and second off, that's the one character thing I guess the point of it is going from I saw this on a video, going from I forget the first word they used. Basically going from a schlub to a mensch was like part of the theme of the movie. And I guess that's like him becoming a man, rejecting like
a human.
Yeah, exactly. Like rejecting like higher ups like walking over him just for him to get ahead, and like he stands up for himself. But like I don't believe he would have done that. I believe his character would have taken the job and like kept doing what he was doing. Like because I mean it's not like because like you said, like he makes a pretty good salary actually, and he has he's a charming enough guy. Like he meets another woman at a bar. In like the one scene we see him go to a bar,
and he's like sad, and like, still gets it.
So I don't think he's that like desperate for a relationship that he would like throw his career away. That's like been the main focus of his life for this elevator operator.
Yeah, I like honestly, like I've been digging at a career for 5 years now. I would never throw it away for a woman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I don't want to sound like a jerk off, but like at the end of the day, like I have to be able to take care of myself.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. Like, all the memes about like there's a meme going around now, like, oh, don't teach your daughter to find a knight, teach her to use the sword or whatever. Like, okay, like she could be independent and still find love. Like that's a stupid meme. But it's true. For like you can't lose sight of that for men too. You have to be able to take care of yourself.
Because at the end of the day, like there's always going to be a guy that like I'm not saying there's people that are better than me, but there's people that are better than me. Like charming, better looking, better money, huge D. Yeah, like good shape,
huge D instead of just a big D.
Yeah,
but that's so. So that's
I got an A-class D.
But that's sort of where I was going with the point. Not the part about your D, but the thing you're saying before that is that I don't like that this sort of perpetuates the nice guy bullshit. Like one of the things I hate most in life is guys who think that because they're decent guys, they deserve sex. Like that to me is like one of the most disgusting male like stereotypical characteristics. Like the guys are just like, oh, I have a good job. I'm a nice guy. I treat the girl right. So why doesn't she want to date me? I'm a nice guy. Like I fucking hate those people because, and they're honestly, I wish I could just read it out loud right now. There was a great Cracked article years ago when Cracked used to be funny. That basically goes on about the nice guy thing, about like listing all the reasons why people don't want to date you because like being a nice guy is the absolute bare minimum. Like that's basically the participation award of like being a human being.
These guys think that they're checking off check boxes.
Yeah,
but they're not.
Yeah, but that's what the story perpetuates a little bit is because she even says at one point like, oh, why can't I find a guy like you? And it's like, oh, it's the fucking nice guys. Like, oh, that's me. I'm nice to this girl that I fucking stalk and been obsessed with for 5 years while she's dated 3 other asshole loser guys. But like, I'm a nice guy and she doesn't want to date me.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
I fit the check marks for a white knight Chad.
It's no good.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I go to the gym.
Yeah.
I work and I have sex. I'm a white knight Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like so it kind of made me mad a little bit that he gets the girl in the end. because like I honestly never want to see the nice guy win in movies because it just perpetuates these fucking nice guys. I think they're nice guys, but they're really fucking creepy assholes.
Yeah, I mean, how long is that going to last? He strains his pasta with a fucking tennis racket.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she'll get him like a real strainer. But yes, that kind of made me mad. So I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending. I liked the little bit of subversion where like she thinks like they show the gun. That's one thing that's really good in this movie. All the build up and payoffs, like all the Chekhov guns, including the literally gun at the end, like all paid.
There's
off.
a gun at the end.
Yeah. So he tells her the story about how he was going to kill himself one time with a gun,
right, which is very also very believable.
Yeah. So, but then the gun goes off and he hurts his knee instead. So, but when he's packing up his apartment, he takes out the gun.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, when he's packing up his apartment, he takes out the gun and he looks at it, and he's holding it for like a few seconds. So, and this is actually one of the really good filmmaking things. So to this point, every single payoff or every single foreshadowing thing paid off. Like that's like it was a really tight movie in that. Like there was nothing that was wasted. There was nothing that like didn't come up again later. And I was thinking examples while I was watching. I can't think of any now, but any bit of foreshadowing like was not wasted in this movie. It's a really tight movie in that regard. So then at the end, he pulls out the gun. So you think, well, everything else in the whole fucking movie paid off, so he's gonna kill himself. And then she goes up the stairs to his apartment, and you hear a loud bang, and it's like, yep, he killed himself. And then she goes in, and it was like, I don't know what happened. Like he popped champagne. So like I thought that was kind of cheap because like popping champagne doesn't sound like a gunshot, and it sounded like a gunshot.
Well, maybe she doesn't know what either sound like. Or no, maybe she doesn't know what a gun sounds like.
Well, but like we heard it. But I guess and the scene wasn't really filmed from like her perspective.
It's filmed from the hallway's perspective.
Yeah. So I guess maybe filmed from her perspective, you could argue that, but
dude, if he killed himself at the end, though,
yeah,
I would still be awake. Like I wouldn't have gone to sleep. Like it would have ruined my night.
What if it was just gory as fuck at the end? It's like his brains all over. It's like, oh no, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. She's eating them.
Yeah, but no. So, but again with that, like they set up all these expectations. So that's a great subverting expectations because they set up this whole pattern throughout the movie, and then the very last instance of that pattern, they break it, and for a payoff at the end. So that was cool.
I did like what happened to Jeff. Like he's like, my wife fired me.
Yeah,
and like I think that line, like everybody's supposed to like laugh, but there's no laughing, and like you deserved it.
Well, not only that, but that's what it is to him. It was essentially like a business relationship. Like I mean, he obviously didn't love his wife because he was with all these other women. So,
but you have to keep up appearances.
Exactly. So that's all it was. So she did fire him. Like it's a bad social thing for him. It's not like he's like lost like a love of his life or something. So it's another tight line. I liked thinking to the last scene where so he mentions how his like ex sends him a fruitcake every year or whatever, and then he says something about what about Jeff, and she's like, well, send him a fruitcake every year. Like, oh, it's another payoff. Like everything pays off in this movie.
Yeah, I like that line too.
Even like the really little things, it was just so well written. And,
do you think they're gonna be happy?
Yeah.
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 Even though I wouldn't say she's like you said earlier. Like, I don't think she's a ditz.
Yeah.
But I really don't think she's like you said, like very bright.
So that's why. So I think they're both fairly simple people.
Oh, okay.
Like he seems very math oriented, which is another kind of weird thing for how math oriented he was, how disorganized he was. But like he seems very math oriented, and he like breaks down life in a pretty simplistic way. And like his depth of emotions aren't that great. And with her too, she's pretty simplistic, I think. So I think they could have a good relationship, you know, and they don't really have anything else besides each other at this point.
And they're both like very caring. So.
Yeah. I guess it just depends what he does for a job now, because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's other big firms like that, but he's not going to get a good recommendation. Like he quit his other job.
Right.
I mean, I guess he has a good resume, but he should have left in a different way. I don't know. So it could be tough for him to find more work. So, but assuming he finds a similar-ish job, or even to the job he started with, they would have a good life. Because, like I said, he was making pretty good money then too.
Yeah, he's making like lower middle class. What would
Yeah.
be considered lower middle class now?
Yeah.
So yeah, it came out. But there are people back then, like towards the middle of the '60s.
Yeah.
Those guys were making like $12 an hour, like
Yeah.
doing union shit. So like, he's making.
Like, what you said, like 21, 22 an hour.
Yeah, that's what. No, I mean like legit, like $12 an hour in the
Oh, wow.
'60s. Yeah. So let's see here: 94 divided by 40, $2.35 an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think part of why this movie was so important, because I always like to look at that, is the Depression stuff. Like, I feel like
I think they did that really well.
I can't imagine that was something that was broached much in the 50s in like mainstream movies like this. So I'm sure that was like decently important at the time.
Well, when my wife left me,
Hmm.
like I had my own gun scenario.
Yeah.
No gun, but like other things. Like
Yeah.
I had that same thing. And she doesn't send me a fruitcake, bitch.
Yeah.
Well, she couldn't. She could bake, but she couldn't really cook. So I don't really want a fruitcake anyway.
So you could draw you a fruitcake.
But it would look like a wreath.
It wouldn't look like a fruitcake. But yeah, we'll put her art page in the description.
Yeah. So, do you think this movie made it on the top 100?
Yeah, I think it was important because of the Depression thing. I think the cinematography stuff is really cool, and that was sort of revolutionary at the time. The writing was so tight. Yeah, I mean, this was, for a story that like isn't the type of story I would necessarily care about. Like this was a good movie. This is like just a top tier, like good, like filmmaking and also social commentary sort of movie. And like all this, and the other thing too that's so good about this is that the social commentary wasn't heavy-handed. Like the Depression stuff. Like again, these are just real people talking about the real struggles. It's not in your face about these sleazeball guys, or like
Right.
it's not like, I mean, I was just before this. It's not like real Me Too. It's not like real heavy-handed about mental health stuff. It's
Right.
just in there. It's just real characters. It's like fucking how like Black Panther's just a superhero movie where everyone happens to be black. It's not a black movie.
Well-
so it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's what this is. Like it's just a movie where the main characters are depressed.
Well-
it's not a heavy-handed movie about depression.
Well, being like the two main characters, Cece
Yeah.
and Fran, you can relate.
Yeah.
You know why they're doing this. You know why he wanted to kill himself. You know why she wanted to kill herself.
Yeah.
You know why they end up together. You know why he covers. Like you
Yeah.
can understand, even if you haven't been there, you can go, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like that makes it great. And then you understand, like anybody who's worked a corporate job, you understand that there's a guy at top that does nothing.
Yeah.
And he has this like life that you want. And then when you get there, you don't really want it.
You gotta sleep with a random woman
Yeah.
because there's nothing else to do.
Can I talk about another movie real quick?
Yeah. Is this the movie for next week?
No, this is a different movie.
Okay.
You mentioned cinematography.
Yeah.
So it's a movie I can almost guarantee you haven't seen. It's a movie called Widows,
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
directed by this guy Steve McQueen. He's directed a lot of like
I've heard of Steve McQueen.
yeah. This is not the original Steve McQueen.
I didn't think so.
This is the English Steve McQueen. Let's see, filmography. He's directed, Hunger, Shame, and 12 Years a Slave. Those are his first three. They're very like drama, like low
Yeah.
budget, like very like. Now all these movies they have a message.
Yeah.
It's a very good message, and they're very like very dark and very tense and everything. But then in 2018, he directed a movie called Widows with Liam Neeson. It's like so these four men rob a I guess like a mobster, like a gangster,
Yeah.
who's running for alderman in Chicago against the like family that's been alderman for 200 years, right? So they get killed, and then the gangster's brother comes up and is like, "You owe us money." Like, we want that money your husband robbed from us. We don't care how you want it. It's $2 million.
Yeah.
So he leaves plans. Liam Neeson leaves plans in a book and a safe deposit, and then the wife. It's weird because they kind of mention it too, because it's Chicago. Liam Neeson's white, Viola Davis is black, so they mention it, and so it's like a weird, like, people were still confused and everything, but it's a very like Steve McQueen type movie, except it's more of an action blockbuster than it is like your typical Steve McQueen. But the cinematography of the movie was awesome. Like, every time you have Viola Davis, she's kind of standing in the corner, and she's like the focal point. Like, if every set was a square, she's in the corner, and you go from her, and she's very like ominous, and like she's a union school delegate. So, you don't think those people are tough, but the way they film her, you're afraid of her the entire movie.
It's interesting.
It's very. I watched it yesterday. It's very like, it's so well shot.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh shit, I'm afraid of her. And like the way she talks to everybody, you're like, oh no, she could just be a mobster. So really, like, this political boss family and these actual like gangsters, like, you're not afraid of these guys. You're afraid of this woman in the corner. And it's very like well done.
That's so good when the filmmaking adds to the story. You know? Versus I feel like the westerns we watched, just, it was just locked down, like, pan across, or, or either static shots, or like just pan across the scene to follow characters. There's really nothing else,
right?
Filmmaking wise, in any of those. Yeah,
but like I really feel like if Steve McQueen didn't direct this film, it would have been just like an action power woman like type of movie, and it wasn't at all. It wasn't like power women. Like, these women never
like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, they never felt confident in what they were doing, except for Viola Davis, who also was unsure what she was doing. But the way they film these women is like remarkable. Like, it was one of the best cinematographies. Like, the way they film it, it was awesome.
I really want to watch Alita: Battle Angel. Because
Robert Rodriguez.
So it's since it came out, they like pitted it against Captain Marvel, and Alita: Battle Angel is supposed to be like this like really heavily like right-wing movie. So it's supposed to be like that. Essentially, if you like Alita and you don't like Captain Marvel, you're like alt-right, and if you like Captain Marvel, you're like liberal. Like, that's that's how these movies have been stacked against each other, like in some of the film media. It's like really weird. So I really want to know what the hell they're talking about.
We should watch it, talk about it.
Yeah, I saw Captain Marvel, but I didn't see Alita. I wanted to see Alita when it came out.
You want to skip next week and do Alita?
Maybe, because it's out now.
Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do Alita.
All right, so we have two choices, and we'll decide next week. Hold on. Alita.
Did you see Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think we'll have to compare the two to be on the.
Oh, there's going to be Alita: Battle Angel 2, apparently. Spoiler warning.
Oh, so there was the last I had seen that was still up in the air, and a lot of because the DVD sales are really strong. So Alita's been out for a couple weeks on DVD and Blu-ray, and has been the number one selling home movie since it's come out.
So I think we're going to decide on this. So Alita, which we're going to talk about that between Captain Marvel. Alita is set several centuries in the future. I think Warhammer 40K future?
I hope so.
Yeah. The abandoned Alita is found in the scrapyard of Iron City of Edo, a compassionate cyber doctor who takes the unconscious cyborg Alita to his clinic. When Alita awakens, she has no memory of who she is, nor does she have any recognition of the world she finds herself in. As Alita learns to navigate her new life in the treacherous streets of Iron City, Edo tries to shield her from her mysterious past. Director, Robert Rodriguez. Box office was 404, so it's not terrible.
It was a really expensive movie to make, though.
Yeah, 200 million.
Yeah.
So it's still pretty good.
So it was mildly successful, but it's having a super good run with DVD sales now.
Right. So we're gonna do that instead of.
We're gonna real alt-right podcast next week, apparently. at least that's what the film media has been saying.
I'm super libertarian,
Yeah.
so I don't
Yeah.
know if I can do that. So 2 weeks from now, we'll do Place in the Sun, which we'll recap before we go over. In this classic version of Theodore Dreiser's novel An American Tragedy, George Eastman, played by Montgomery Clift, which is the manliest name ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nephew of a wealthy industrialist is excluded from high school. Oh, sorry, excluded from high society and given a blue-collar job at his uncle's factory. While ascending the ranks of the company, George becomes romantically involved with co-worker Alice Tipp, Shelley Winters. However, when he is introduced to socialite Angela Vickers, Elizabeth Taylor, he quickly falls for her, leading to a tragic love triangle. So that'll be 2 weeks from now, because now we're going to watch Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. All right. Got anything else about the apartment?
That's it.
So this is probably one of your favorite movies so far.
Yeah, this is up there. I think Yankee Doodle Dandy might still be my favorite.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah.
I don't know. But thanks for listening to this week's Whole Week Costa. We talked about a lot of movies and we talked a lot about a lot of issues. But next week we're going to go to not one of the 100 greatest movies of all time, but we're going to see how that is.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. For Kev, I'm Jay.